Good morning, Seller Sessions. I have an extremely special guest this morning with me, Mr. Stephen Black. Thank you a million times for accepting my invitation.
I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for asking me.
Of course. You are one of those people that I always see like posting things on Facebook, and I'm like, yes, yes, yes. I love that. I resonate with that. I don't know if everybody else does that, but that's all I'm like, I have to get this guy on the show because like everything you say, I can just tell. It's like with passion and with meaning. And I feel like you actually really are trying to like help those who are maybe following your page and I just love that. Like, how did that come about? Like, to become this like inspirational person? Because you are, just in case you
Okay.
didn't know.
Okay. Well, I'll take that wonderful compliment, and hopefully the lighting is terrible on me so no one can see me blush. But how all that started on my personal Facebook profile was I have my own garbage that I have to deal with, and most people on social media, they want to post their highlight reel. They want to say everything is good and this is the highlight. No, this is where I went to dinner and this is where I'm hanging out and this is what I did. No, not me. So I wake up every single morning and I read. I read about 60 to 80 pages a day. Sometimes it doesn't happen in the morning, but it's usually part of my routine. And I try to take ownership of the things that I struggle with, be it business, be it personal life, be it my own inner demons, anything else like that. And so all of those things that I write are kind of like my ongoing personal diary, so to speak. And the thoughts that come out in the way that I write are just little things to myself, to where if I saw them again, it's saying, okay, I know why I wrote that, but that's how I'm kind of dealing with getting through a lot of it. So if it's about, perseverance, or if it's about, battling your demons, I talk about that a lot, or failure, or whatever it is. I'm not afraid to talk about the things that we all deal with, because only 20% of the things that we're really capable of are things that we already like to do. And growth never happens with the things we already like to do. So if you want to grow, if you want to level up, you're gonna have to go through the things that hurt, that make you uncomfortable. It's like, if you're like, oh man, I people like how I talk, I wonder if I should start a podcast. Just start it. It's gonna suck. It's gonna be terrible the first 20 episodes because you have no idea what you're doing. If you're getting into business, your first few products comparatively are going to be horrible. They're going to be so mismatched. You're not going to know what you're doing, but that is the only way to get to where you know what you're doing. And people are like, okay, well, how do you write like that? My writing was terrible for the longest time. I wrote for my own personal therapy, just trying to recover from the garbage that I've been through in life. I have all this business insight. Well, people don't know. I burned down, well, I guess some people know because I talk about it. I burned down $500,000. I burned right through it, and had nothing to show for myself. I was almost homeless.
Was this like on your first business, or how did that happen?
My first business, yeah, absolutely. Dance
Was
studio.
this an Amazon related business or something else?
No, it was brick and mortar,
Okay.
and they ended up being successful. But I mean, having to learn the lessons, you say, okay, this is just hurts. Everybody says, man, you got all this, all this revenue coming in and everything else, and you're like, I wish I could eat better. Because I was mismanaging it, things were inefficient. And so that's one of the lessons I learned early, is your cash flow from your revenue is only a meter to tell you how healthy your systems of efficiency are. That's a huge one. People think, well, I need to raise my prices, or I need more products to make more money. Nope. You should do all of that anyway, but you should absolutely work on making your systems and your overhead more efficient so you can keep more of the money you're making. And once I learned that, a lot of things changed. And that was the first big eye opener there.
So what were the first things that you did once you realized that that's an issue and that's something that you can actually touch and solve? So what did you do?
Just I went back through, and I listed everything that I had to do, or everything I thought I had to do, and everything that I was paying for. And the first thing I did is, okay, what's actually making me money? What's a profit center? Okay, let's double down on those. What am I doing that's not making me any money at all? Can I make it more efficient? Can I replace, an employee that I'm having to pay overhead for with a one-time fee for a software that can automate the same thing and save me time? Things
But
like that.
isn't that kind of hard to do, especially when you work with people?
No, no, it's not. Not a bit. No, because it's two things. Number one, it doesn't mean that you're a mean person letting someone go. You have to get over that. There's two choices you have to make. Number one, if you don't have them in a role that they can do their best and grow as a person, then they're mismatched. Just because they came into your company to do something for you because they have the skill to do it and to receive a paycheck for it doesn't mean it's the best role for them. All right. Number two, when it's time to let people go, it doesn't mean they're bad people. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It doesn't even mean that things weren't working. It just means that you have to make the choice of, are you working for everybody else, or did you open a business for yourself to make your own life better? And if you're not in a position to where you can provide enough for yourself, you need to figure out, why can't I provide enough for myself? And I can't be responsible like that and set up those systems, but I'm trying to be responsible for all these other people. So you start treating your employees like, hey, am I responsible enough to have an extra kid at the table, have an extra family member that I'm taking care of? If I'm not, I need to take a step back and say, hey, look, I'm time out. I got to figure this out to where I can provide a little more and figure out what's going on and be more efficient here before I can try to bring on anybody else.
Do you see a lot of businesses failing because they keep this mismatched employees just for the sake of it? Do you ever see that
I
happening?
don't see businesses failing. I see people as business owners being depressed and subjugating themselves to being overly agreeable. Once I have somebody, oh, I don't want to fire someone. I don't want them to think I'm a bad person. Well, what the hell do you think they're going to think of you if the business fails and they can't provide for their family? Choose. And if you're going to let somebody go, if you really, really like them and you want them to think highly of you, if that's a big thing that matters to you, help them figure out a spot somewhere else. You see that all the time. Somebody says, why, I have a VA that I can't have anymore. Does anybody want an amazing VA? Blah, blah, blah. And we do that all the time, right? But again, if you don't want them to have bad feelings for you over being fired and having to figure out a new position, even if you're helping because you're a really super nice, agreeable person, just think, what are they going to say when I have to close the doors? And that's it. Whoops. So in my mind, I'd rather let them go and have a better spot somewhere else, and then you move forward.
Did you have to do that quite a lot in your businesses, like let people go?
Oh, I have no problem with it at all. Mm-mm. I have no qualms about it because I'm of the mentality that, hey, I'm trying to make this thing as efficient as I can. I'm doing the best that I can. And if it's not going to work, if you're not the right fit as a person for the role, I'm either going to get you a new role if I think you're going to be better and make me more money in a different role in one of my companies, or you're going to be better suited somewhere else. I have to take a step back. I made a mess. I got to fix it. But I'm not going to put you in a position to where you're going down with a sinking ship. Whereas if I can move you somewhere else, your family still eats, and I can take my own responsibility to fix my ship in the best way that I see fit. That's why you let people go. Is you, hey, the ship is sinking. I got to throw stuff overboard to try to save this thing. Right? But it doesn't happen all the time. If you think as an owner and you have people working for you, when you hire people, you say, hey, you're better at doing this than I am. I trust you to be smarter here than I am. If that's really the case and you hire that way, and they say, hey, this is your role over here. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I need you to do. It's now a case of the queen bee not doing the role of the worker bee, and the worker bee not doing the role of the guard bees, I guess I should say, in the beehive. Everybody has their own role, and the beehive works in harmony, and that's how it goes. But the minute you have like a worker bee trying to be a guard bee, it's not going to work. You got a bad idea going. So.
How do you hire people? Like, do you have some requirements for them? Do you make them do a test? Do you have them do like maybe a personality test? Like, what are some of your tricks for doing that?
I want them. I always hire for a role, not the person. And so if I have somebody that has come to me and maybe they're applying for a different role, but in getting to know them through various questions or looking at the work they've already done, if I can spot, hey, wait a minute, maybe you've never tried this before, it's not on your resume, but I think you might be a really good fit for this over here. Have you ever tried that? And they're like, well, no. I want you to try it. I'm going to pay you the same, but I want you to try this over here. And they discover a new skill because you spotted it. But you have to know, I want this role fulfilled. From what I've seen, the people that are really good at this kind of operate like this is a personality. This is how they think. I'm looking for that kind of person. So when I throw something out there, whomever applies, I'm not looking at are they a super nice person? Are they, it's so many variables beyond just like a resume and just simple stuff off of an interview. I want to ask work ethic stuff. So if I take an interview, I want to do it either, if I know they have children, I want to do it during family night. What are you willing to do? It's the indicator. Are you going to make an excuse? Are you going to come to the table? I'm not going to do it to you all the time, but if I need to pull like Tuesday night, 8:00 prime time, I need you for an hour. We got to talk. We got to figure it out. And then I'm going to not bother you for like 2 weeks, right? We can do our task list. But if that's what it takes, are you a hard worker? That's what it takes, right? And I also tell my people that work with me, I want you to do this because you're smarter than me at this. You're better than me at this. Do not bother me with micromanaging, and I don't want to do it. So when I hire people, the way that I work with everybody is, okay, I have kind of my SOPs as like videos. Here's me doing it over the shoulder. Here's how I like it done. There's your training. Go watch that, do that. And then when you're done watching it, write down all the questions you have, come back and interview me. What do you need to know? Once you interview me, it takes out the, well, I couldn't do this and I couldn't do that because I needed to see what you thought about it. No. Go do it. And if it comes back bad, I'm going to take responsibility to say, that's what I asked for. Okay. That's not what I was going for. So I guess I need to adjust how I communicate. Because when you have an employee doing work for you, it's kind of like a computer. It can only put out as much as you put into it. And the clearer that you make your instruction and the clearer that you demonstrate what you're looking for, the better a job you're going to get back out. It's like when you're outsourcing. Like when I outsource my graphic design stuff, I'm really, really, really clear with all the examples and all the specifics as to what I need done. And here's kind of where I'm going for templates and all this kind of thing. It may as well be an over-the-shoulder video. This is what I need. And here's the colors. Now, put your magic on it. And when it comes back, I'm like, oh, I never even thought of that. You're like magic. That's exactly what I want. Yes, finalize that. Send it my way. All of it. Yes. But now you're free to do your other stuff. And so for me, I know that in all my companies, I'm the content guy. I'm a writer. It's what I do. I mean, it's like a fish wakes up in water and it swims. I just happen to write. I don't recommend everybody doing it because it may not be what you're made for, right? But the people that make pictures for me, I make all the graphics and all the stuff for all the assets, all the YouTube landing pages, Facebook, Instagram, blah blah blah, all the advertising. I'm like, I don't want to touch it. Like I have an idea, and then that's what I want. Surprise me. It's like going into a fancy restaurant and saying, "What would you have?" The chicken. Work your magic. And that's what comes back. And I love it. But that's the thing. You have to give, in my opinion, you have to give your employees responsibility for their own process. We have our timelines and everything, but it's like, this is the direction I want to go. Take care of that. Whatever you need to do to get that done, own the result. But be yourself, because I'm hiring you to be smarter than me and know how to do it more efficient than I am or than I would. Otherwise, I wouldn't hire you. I'd do it myself.
You feel like that gives them a little power, like, okay, like he trusts me in this process to make it better? Or do you feel like people tend to go the other way, where they're like, they're starting to be insecure. And what do you see more?
Don't hire insecure people. Mm-mm. No, all every single one of my people that work with me, we have an open policy. If you think I'm making a bad call, you better tell me, because if I found out that you shut your mouth and let me make a bad call when you knew better, I will fire you. I don't care how good you are. I need my team to make sure I'm operating at the best I can. And if they're asking me a question and I can't really justify the direction that we're going and why I need things done and give a fuller picture of the context of the scope of work, maybe I need to adjust. If I have someone coming back and saying, I know what you asked for here, but this is what you're really asking for. You just don't realize this is what it's going to take. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. We need to adjust some here. Yeah, don't be timid. Don't you dare. I need you to punch me right in the mouth. If it's bad news, make it faster, because I want to be able to take care of it and move forward. Now, realistically, not everybody is that direct. They're not that direct. So, not everybody is just going to be straight shooting like that. And so I've learned to check in and communicate and say, hey, like if I'm talking to people and we're trying to figure out, the next direction we're going to go, because we have something seasonal coming up, like maybe a Mother's Day or something at the time of this podcast, say, okay, this is where we need to go. We need to get this done, this done, this done. And this is kind of what I'm thinking we're going to do in terms of promotions and bundles and all this kind of thing. Well, what I'll do, if I know the people that are going to say, hey, good or no good, I know those people. And I know the people that are going to say, and kind of look side-eyed. And that's how they're telling me, may not want to do that. But because I'm such a direct communicator, it's intimidating sometimes. And they work for me, so it's like, I don't want to piss them off. No. You're going to make me mad if you don't say something. So if I see people going, I don't know, well, it's okay. Wait. I'm catching the funny over here. Is it? Am I reading into something? Just tell me now. Don't let me find out later. If I don't care how bad it is, you're never going to be in trouble for telling me the truth. If I'm making a bad call, you're responsible for saving the ship. Help me out here. If you get in the middle of your work and something's just, nope, that is just not the direction we need to go. Here's why. Okay. Good to know. I value those people a lot more, because I'm not perfect. And a leader is not perfect. And a leader knows he's not perfect. A leader says, here's the direction I want to go. Here's why I think we should go this direction and execute it this way to the best of my knowledge. But if you're closer to that objective and you're one of the ones doing the work and you know something I don't know, well, your piece of information may change the entirety of how I'm thinking. So tell me. So there you go. That's how I think about all that. Does that make sense?
And yeah, absolutely. And I love that. And they usually just go right with it, right? They usually just.
Yeah, well, they've gotten used to talking to me that way. They know it's okay. They know it's okay to do that.
I love that you give them so much power, because like you said in the beginning, like you hire them because you expect them to be smarter than you at that role, at like graphic design or whatever, something that's like.
Absolutely. And the other side of it is, 0 people on planet Earth like working for someone who micromanages everything. 0 people like doing that. So I don't, and I don't want to be bothered with it. So there's 4 ways you can spend your time. You can do, and actually like do like I have to write something, right? That's doing the task. I can decide, which is when other people are given something to do, but they have to come back to me to make a decision about it. I don't want to spend too much time doing that because it slows everything down. You can delegate, which is saying, hey, I'm going to write all of the ad copy for our Mother's Day promotion. I need you to get this, and this going. I need, 4 different creatives for ads. I want 1 as a video. I want 2 carousels, and I want 2 still images. And we're going to have to make 3 more landers. I'm going to need some headers for that. And I want 3 different ones so we can test each one against each other. Here's the palettes, on you go. Meet you back when I've written everything. So that's where I go with all of that. I expect people to talk to me.
How many businesses are you running right now, Stephen?
Enough.
Like, give us a number.
Enough. More than 1 and less than 100.
Oh God.
So business,
you went all the way to 100. So that's scary. 100
is where I'm going. 100 is where I'm going. I have.
Are you very diversified though, or is everything Amazon? Like,
Oh
just
no. Amazon is a very tiny portion, and everybody thinks that Amazon is this huge gold mine and cash machine and everything else, and it's a great platform. But the way that I think about it is, it's kind of like having it's kind of like being, if you're only on Amazon, it's like being married to a very moody, very controlling significant other, right? Like like if you ran a store and your significant other was the only cashier and she doesn't let you follow up with the customers, doesn't let you build a relationship with anybody else, lets your competitors come in and set up their items on your store shelf, right? Hijackers and all that kind of business, right? Or people that are copycats. I don't want to deal with that. I'm going to have to deal with inventory limitations. I'm going to have to deal with people doing things underhanded and everything else. I don't get any data back from my advertising. I can't use, purchase conversion ads on Facebook. I can't use Google Shopping on the platform. I get no retargeting data. Can't make audiences of my purchasers in a real, way. I can't build a user experience that's better than everybody else, because that's how you really win in business. Like, no, Amazon's a cashier. That's all she needs to be, is a single cashier, but she does not hold the keys to the entire operation. No. It's everybody's favorite spot to check out, but that's as far as it goes for me. So, yeah, I have about a dozen other projects that I'm involved in. Let's just put it that way.
okay. Are you a big investor as well?
Not much externally. Not much externally. I
You
have
just put everything back into your businesses.
Yeah, because I have a system, and I have the way that I will take advantage of an opportunity is, I know how I like to work. I know the system that produces results for me in the digital space. And that's the best thing about the digital space, is you can set up almost anything you want and you can pivot very, very quickly, versus having, say, a brick and mortar space where it's very hard to pivot and change things around, right? But in the internet space, you can change anything anytime you want. Right? You can make it and optimize it, and change things midday and blah 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 blah. And there's so much automation you can do. So for me, I have a workflow and a way that I like to build businesses and assets and all of this kind of thing. Every single one of them involve building an audience, having a community, creating a gigantic user experience, because people that are, say, spending $1 million a month on paid advertising, well, I'm not going to spend $1 million a month on paid advertising. I don't have that, right? Not that I'm going to spend. So how do I take out that lever of strength in their operation if we're competing? Well, if I have everybody in the space talking to me and they're more familiar with me and I'm answering their questions ahead of purchasing offers, well, I have a lot going on, a whole lot going on. And I can put, tens of thousands of pieces of content around the space over the course of a year, do that for 2 or 3 years. And guess what? I mean, good luck with paid advertising, but I have my part that works. Now, I am not the kind of guy that tries to take one egg, so to speak, and make it so big that I have to spend all of my time managing it. That scares me. I've been wiped out before. Not going to do that. So what I was talking about is, I have a system, and when an opportunity comes my way, it's not, oh God, I can make so much money with that. It's, is this a good fit for how I like to work? Because if it's not, I then have to change everything about how I work to take advantage of the opportunity. And you can only do that a few times and try to flip between 2 or 3 different systems to get things done before you're like totally stressed out. I'd rather say, I'm really, really, really good at this system. It's like being somebody that plays in a symphony. I'm extremely good at, say, the violin. Okay, where can I play my violin? I can play it at this symphony. I can play it in that orchestra. I can be part of this movie soundtrack. I can do this. I can do that. Cool. Those are extra opportunities for the system and how you like to work. Versus, oh God, I could make so much more money if I could also play the tuba. No, don't do that. So people get shiny object syndrome saying, oh man, I could do this and I could do that and I could make money and maybe I could help people that. No, don't do it. Don't do it. Cut your teeth, figure out the role you like to play that you want to wake up to every single day. For me, it's writing. I like making content. I like building communities. I like doing the emails. I like doing all of that. Right? It's just how I'm wired. I'm a weirdo like that. Making graphics, I absolutely hate it. Nope. Don't want to do it. Don't want to do it. A whole bunch of customer service emails. Nope. Not my thing. Not my thing at all. So
That's
I know that, right?
That's probably the best advice I've heard in a long time, because I can see that. I deal with that almost every day. I'm like, man, like if I do this, then oh my God, like that's $1 billion idea. And then I look at something else, that's $1 billion idea. Like we were talking right before we went live. I'm like, I have that and I recognize that. So I don't take every single thing, but I still have the tendency. And it's like, I don't know if it's all entrepreneurs that we want to do this. We think we're just like so good at everything. We want to do everything. And then we just get like drown.
Well, I think as entrepreneurs, once you start figuring out that you can make a little cash on your own, you start looking at the world very different. All you see are the angles and the opportunities, and that's it. But you have to keep in mind, this is how I like to work. We all like to work very differently. This is kind of how I assemble my team of people around me to accomplish certain tasks. When you do that, then you say, okay, if I'm working on task 1 right now, project A, but I see project B and it will actually fit, okay, cool. Let me cut my teeth on project A. Let me get it profitable. And then we take some of that to launch project B. Now I got 2 at once, but now I'm operating like a doctor's office. That's how that works. And each new business is just another patient that comes in with the same symptoms. That's it. The front desk lady handles it the same way. The nurse handles it the same way. The doctor is going to say, okay, what have you got going on? Like if it's an orthopedist that specializes in like knee pain, they may have 150 patients. Guess what they're coming in for? Not a throat cold, it's the knee pain. And so once you get a system going, that's your business practice. Each new opportunity you take on, each new store you open up is like another patient. But you file it the same way. You set it up the same way. You work it the same way because you have set up and made efficient your process to profitability. And guess what? If you want to scale that, every new store you open like that, it's operating things kind of the same way. And now you're incorporating risk mitigation into your practice so that everything about your lifestyle isn't in one big egg. So there you go. It's kind of like, people that run agencies. You run your agency and you work each client relatively the same way, whether you have 10 clients or 150 clients. It's no different than when you say, okay, I'm going to be an entrepreneur, but this is how I'm setting things up. And you say, okay, if we don't have the capital to start all these other businesses yet, even though they're great opportunities, write them down. Write them down. So what? Everybody's like, oh, well, what about saturation? And what if the market goes cold? You know what? Why do people still go to school to be doctors or lawyers or engineers or whatever? Why? Because the demand is always going to be there. There's no such thing as market saturation if you're willing to provide a better customer experience. And that can be through your product. It could be through your touch points. It could be anything. It could be absolutely anything. So let's say you have a product that's similar to another product, right? And we're competing for the same space. If I go way deep on creating a real relationship and figuring out what those people's problems are, what are they asking around the internet, what are they researching before they make a purchase, and I provide the most amazing user experience through content and answering those questions, well, guess what? They're going to go online to get the questions answered anyway. Why aren't they getting them answered from me? And if they know through those questions and having the information provided for them without a purchase that I understand how they're thinking and I understand what they're feeling, guess who they're buying from? Me. Yeah, good luck running ads against that.
Right.
So there you go.
Do you think people don't do it because they're
lazy?
Think they can do it, or is it like just easier to do ads, or what is it that why don't people take that extra step, I guess?
Because it's more work. People want short term. We all run paid ads, but people run paid ads because you can get a wider distribution of your messaging into the space in a shorter period of time when you pay for it. And a lot of people, that's their entire model, and they make a crap load of money off of it. How much money do you really need to make before you're comfortable? And for me, it's not how much money do I need to make before I'm comfortable. It's how good of a relationship do I need to have so that I can bring my cost per purchase down, so that if my ads tank, or if my ad account gets banned and I have to try to get it back, or I have to switch and get another domain, another store built, or all of a sudden I can't sell those products anymore, I better have 2 or 3 or 4 other alternatives. And people don't realize that because they've never been wiped out. And that's a tough lesson. It's not nice having to just say, okay, what are we going to do to pay the bills, and what are we going to do to feed the kids next week? Because that's coming if I don't fix something. Woof, right? Because when something works, what do? As entrepreneurs, we go a little deeper and we try to risk and try to press that line just a little more, and then all of a sudden we get bit for it. Yeah. So I'm terrified of that. I'm absolutely terrified of
I'm
being.
not going to ask how you know all of this.
I've been there, and I've talked about it. 2015 was real bad. 2015 was awful. I worked over 100 hours a week, and I tracked it for over a year. And I took no holidays, not even Christmas. I worked on Christmas, right? Nothing. I worked every single day without a day off. And I was still having problems. I made a lot of revenue, but I wasn't efficient yet. And it drove me to some very, very dark places, right? And then guess what? After all of that effort, I still was right there to where I was facing zero again. So after 3 or 4 years of building, it's like, okay, well, what if after 3 or 4 years of building, you misstep and you try to go a little extra because you're like, oh my gosh, it's working. Let's double down. Nope, zero. You lose it all. And I'm still responsible for bills coming in that are recurring. Whoa, what do we do? Yikes. That's a tough lesson. Now, as far as building relationships with people, I don't think many people do it because it's a lot of extra work, and very few people do it to where they teach it. You're going to find a lot more paid ads courses and a lot more paid ad programs and a lot more information on paid ads out there on the internet, and especially in marketing forums, than you are. Here's how you get into someone's head and find out why they want what they want, what questions they're asking. And here's how you provide a better user experience to where you put them into a corner to where they'd feel stupid not being your best friend about it. When you do that, you say, okay, sure. Now, here's the fun thing. This platform that we all love, Amazon, is built on customer experience. If you look up a term called the Bezos virtuous cycle, everything is about customer experience. And I mean everything. And that's why they've won. That's why they're as big a platform as they are. And in fact, here's a fun fact for you. Amazon spent $15 billion over a 10-year period on just logistics. Just logistics, having more warehouses and more places to cut down on the time of getting packages to people. And that's how, Prime got to where it was 2 days. Now it's down to 1. You can get some things same day if you want here in the US market. Why? Because they knew if they made it more convenient for people would keep buying on the platform. And Amazon works that way. People don't realize it's not like a giant marketplace. Amazon's a search engine that they've trained all of us circus animals to use. And think about it. It functions the same way as Google does. You type in what you're looking for, and you're matched with results in real time as you have the intent. We all know if we're not ready to buy something, we're searching on Google. If we think maybe I can buy something, I'm going to search on Amazon because it's only product results. It's not content at all. That's the difference. And if it were a terrible customer experience, if we couldn't get things easy, if we couldn't get things in a couple of days, you wouldn't say, oh, I'll just get that on Amazon. When you say, I'm not going to go to the store, I don't feel like leaving the house, just order on Amazon, I'll be here tomorrow, whatever. Right? It's that customer relationship. They have obsessed and figured out how we all need to operate so they don't sell anything except for trust and convenience, and we will pay through the nose for it.
Yeah, and that works even though the products are not always great. As
Mhm.
we know, a lot of the
Yeah.
products, I mean, I am in the business of ranking products, right? So, some of the products that I rank, they're not always, even, I mean, I'm not going to say the ones that I rank. I'm saying the ones that are ranked on page one,
Yeah.
you get them and it's like, oh my God, this is crap. Yeah, we still order from Amazon over and over again. So, for example, this Yeti microphone that I have right here,
Mhm.
the cable that I have to it broke 3 times already. Yeah, no, really, I'm not joking. Like, I don't know what happens. It's like the way I move it just breaks, right? Yet
Yeah.
I go the third time and I buy from the same freaking seller because I'm like, I need a cable for my next show,
Yeah.
right? And we know that, but I also know if I order today, like I said, it will be here tomorrow. I also know if I am ever to tell Amazon, hey, this cable really sucked, like they'll give me the money back. I already know that my experience is going to be so perfect that it's beating the product quality, which is absolutely insane because we would have never done that before. You walk into a store and you buy a product, you automatically want to take it back. I mean, there's lazy people like me who don't do that, but most people, that's their first initial
Yeah.
feeling, like, I'm going to take this back. But yet Amazon has made it so perfect that we don't have to do anything. We just order it. And I buy a lot. I mean, we all do. We
Mhm.
even, I'm sure you do too. Like, I'm a lot of Amazon sellers. We still buy on Amazon. So what you're saying is it's so true. So true.
So here's something that goes along with that. When you want to buy something and your friend gives you a recommendation, that's usually the first place you go, and you're not going to it objectively. You're saying, okay, well, if it works for them and they know me and they can relate to me, there you go. That's what reviews are. Reviews are not necessarily about product quality. Next time you go hunting for reviews, boys and girls, when you read the reviews, catch yourself. You're not looking necessarily at product quality for the reviews. You're looking, is this company a pain in the butt to deal with if something goes wrong? Are these people talking in a way that I can relate? Do they have my same problem? Oh, well, they understand me. We're going to trust the reviews and referrals instead of taking the time to do first-party research out in the wilds of Google as to how it really is going to come across. Because most of the time we buy things, right? Most of the time we select a lot of things. I'm just going to leave it at that. We're not looking for the absolute pinnacle, perfect, ideal, check all the boxes thing. How we shop on Amazon, and I'll prove it to you in just a second. How we shop on Amazon, as an example, is we have in mind what we want, we type it in, and we always buy the first thing that we think most closely matches what we think we want and has the least probability of coming in terrible. That's it. And you know how I know that it's not perfect? Can you name the name of the seller of the last thing you bought on Amazon if it's not a giant company like Nike or Sony? No.
Nope.
Nope. Because you took the first thing that most closely matched what you thought you want and had the least probability in your mind of coming in and being terrible. You didn't search through the other pages to say, oh, it's not quite perfect. I need it to be just a little more of this and a little less of that. You didn't do that. You said, yeah, that'll do it. Next. It's the convenience factor. You trust the reviews. You trust the referral. You trust that Amazon is going to bring you something that is going to most closely match your intent. That's why they're so touchy about rank and algorithm and all that kind of thing. And sales velocity is a big part of ranking. It's because, well, logically speaking, people aren't going to buy a whole lot of things that are terrible. It's just how it works, right? Same thing with Google. If you put something into Google, well, generally the things that come up on page one, they've got it pretty ironed out now to where it's probably going to be pretty close to what you're looking for in terms of information. And they always say that the funny thing in search engine land is, where do you go to bury something on Google? You always go to page 2 because nobody looks at it, like almost never, right? So that's just an example. Now, that's where user experience comes in for me. I'm like, hey, I'm not going to put out a ton of capital. I'm not going to invest in a product. I'm the opposite guy. Everybody talks about, what am I selling? When you get into the Amazon game, it's all about product, product, product. You got to have a product and it has to make sense and the data and this and that. And I'm like, nope, don't do that. Don't do it. Instead, whom are you wanting to serve? Because your product is a vehicle that delivers a result that the end customer is seeking. If you don't understand the problems they are trying to resolve or the solutions that they are seeking, how can you possibly match the messaging of your product listing to their desires so that you'll convert? If you can't speak their language to where you understand what they're really about, how could you possibly develop an ideal product to fill that gap? So for me, I like to research the niche. I like to listen to the social media. I like to get into the groups and start talking to people. And when I know that I'm ready to develop a product for a space, it's because I can speak at almost a hobbyist level. I can speak the language of the other people. Like if I'm going to sell something golf related, I need to be able to talk golf with the golfers. As an example, right? If I'm going to sell something, a little photo device or something for scuba divers, I better know how to talk scuba diving, right? Because for everybody that's not doing that, now I have the lens to where I can say, oh, this is why they want this. And this is what's out there. But if I did this over here, that would fill that gap really nicely. And guess what? If you're talking to people and they know who you are, you can say, hey guys, I'm looking for something like XYZ. And XYZ is like the product you're thinking about developing with the features you're thinking about adding. I saw this thing over here linked to your competitors on Amazon where you got the idea in the first place. Does anybody know of one that has feature? I'm doing product validation in the market before I even spend money on the idea, because you're going to get people to say, oh, well, here's this other company and it's awesome. And you're like, oh, had no idea. Thank goodness I didn't spend the money on that. Or they're going to say, well, yeah, you're going to want to leave that dress on the mannequin because this other company tried this and this is how it turned out. It links, you think it's a great idea, but then when you have it, it's actually like this. Nobody wants that. And here's all the threads of everybody trashing that from like 2 years ago. And you go, oh, glad I asked. Whew. Thank goodness I didn't spend like my $10,000 that everybody thinks is necessary to get going. Right?
Wait, so Stephen, are you saying that we should actually do some real life research instead of just looking how much money people are making off of products?
Always.
Is that what you're saying?
Always. Here's the thing. So let's bring it a little closer to home. For me, when I sell somebody a product, it's me getting into a relationship with them. If I don't understand them, how can I possibly think that I'm going to be able to service their needs? We're in a relationship with somebody. We talk to them all the time. It's all about communication. Well, I'm not going to get in a relationship and be committed to somebody to where I'm putting out money, going in blind. No, that's like asking your friend, your guy friends, hey, I'm thinking about being like this. I think girls would like that. Like, who the hell are you talking to? Like, where are we going with this? And when you put it like that, people go, oh, where do I start with that? Facebook groups, Instagram comments, YouTube comments. Take your keywords and ask questions about them on Google and read people's comments, read the information out there. And guess what? All of a sudden, you're going to figure out why certain things are important and why they're not. And when you make an Amazon listing with that, now when you're pointing out the features of your product, it's not just it does this or it has XYZ. You can also attach to that, it has this, so blah, 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 because you know that's what's important to the end customer. Now they see that listing over your competitors and they say, oh, now I get it. Okay. Yeah, these guys seem like they understand me. Okay, yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for right there. Because you're mirroring the reader back to themselves. So all the internet and all the Facebook groups are just focus groups, and it's all niched out. If you want to sell, cookware, go in some of the mommy recipe groups, find out what they're cooking, and just say, hey, you guys, I kind of want to make this recipe, but I'm on a tight budget here and I only have this much in the kitchen. I was thinking about adding this. Do any of you guys use anything like this? What? Total chameleon. Like, what? Oh, no. And you let everybody talk because everybody has an addiction to being significant amongst their peers and helping the new people. So why not use that against them? to get them to tell you all of the reasons that they would buy something or use something or not. And if they give you the green lights, I'm going to say, oh, well, that's a great idea. I never thought about that. Do you know where one is? If you know it, post the link. I want one of those. Aha. Okay, now we can get some motion going there. And now you're making a better educated guess on deploying your capital into a product for a market because you understand the market from the end user's point of view. And that data is not on Amazon. It's not on Helium 10 or Jungle Scout or wherever we want to go, right? So if we're trying to sell more and we're trying to convert more, we're trying to rank faster with less capital out of the gate so we can be more profitable earlier, well, if you have a bunch of technobabble because keyword stuffing on your listing, and I have some important keywords, but I also know what phrases people are using and I know what language they're using, and I can put that on my listing to help it be more relatable, I'm probably going to convert a lot more than you. Maybe you get more people on your listing, but if I'm converting more than you, good luck. Come and get me. So there you go.
Why do you think people don't take advantage more of like the social media, like Facebook groups and all this? Most sellers don't.
They're lazy. They're lazy. That's it. There's no other answer. People always want to do the minimum amount required. They think, I want some new silver bullet, this new software or that new hack or this new campaign setup. If I just do it like this, all of a sudden I'm going to be printing money and my life will change. No, it won't. No, you're going to have to do the work every single day. Every single day. If you're going to sell something long-term, you're in a long-term personal relationship with the space. And if you don't optimize how you deliver yourself through your products to the space, you're not going to be in that relationship very long. You have to really understand them better than they understand themselves. We've all had that person that we were really connected to, let's say in a personal relationship, where you're like, I don't know. Yeah, you're right. You're talking to me like, man, is that really how I am? I had no idea. You're probably right. Huh. Your market's telling you the same thing. If I'm selling, say, in the baby category, if I'm selling for a year, I am a year deep in a personal relationship with a baby category. It may as well be another person. And all of the needs of those people and all their reasons for looking at my products and all their hopes and fears and problems and everything else, I need to know how to address them, right? Maybe I'm not trying to hit all parents as an example, but if I know, hey, there are parents with this specific thing, and this is kind of where I'm trying to go, but I need them to understand in the 3 seconds they're going to scan my listing that they can trust me because I understand their reasons, even if they can't articulate them. That's why earlier in the podcast, you mentioned you like to read what's on my personal wall, and you're like, oh, yes, that. All that is me doing introspection and being able to put into words what everybody else is already feeling in some area of their own life. It's the same thing when you write a listing. It's like you identify something and you're like, oh, that's that feeling I can't put into words. That's what I need right there. That's my reason. So when you put it on a product listing, let's say, and I can say, hey, here's my feature and here's why it's important to you in your own language, because I read that in your conversations a few weeks ago. Now, when you get people converting more, they're going to go, oh, I guess. Okay. Yeah. that's why that's important. Because your keyword volumes are only reflective of people's limited capacity to articulate what the result they're really seeking through the keyboard. And people are not good with their words. So that's your keyword volumes. It's like, okay, I think I want something like this. I think this is probably what's going to put it up there. Maybe it's not quite that. Oh, okay, I think this is nothing. Let me add this keyword into my search phrase. Okay, now, and you fumble through. That's how most people do it. Most people don't know the exact phraseology to bring up a particular subset of products that are going to be perfect for them. They fumble around. That's why we have broad match keywords, because people are searching there. But if people are going to get to my listing and they've clicked through, well, now it's time to you've come into the house. It's time that we have a relationship here. Buy from me. Let me show you why I understand you and you can trust that my product is going to service your needs better than other people Maybe they can throw more shiny objects at you, but if they don't understand you, you're not going to want to be with them. And when you buy, you're committing to a micro relationship. Now, for me, I like all of the off Amazon stuff because I don't want you to get from 0 to 1. And everybody's looking for the biggest shortcut to get from 0 to 1. I want to get you from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. And I want you to bring your friends. I want to be that business that is that new boyfriend you tell all of your friends about. Like, I've never seen anything like this. He's yes. Why aren't there more of that? And we all know how that feels. When you find a business like that and you want to tell, no. If you're going to do this, these are the people you want to go see. Why? Not because the actual deliverable product that you're purchasing as a transaction is like so amazing that it's changed your whole life. Maybe it has, but it's the user experience around it, the relationship that you have that really drives you back over and over and over again. And guess what? If I'm talking to you like that and I have your attention, well, when I want to develop more products and scale horizontally, guess what? If I've treated you properly, you're probably going to say yes again. Simple as that. Very, very simple. Here's a fun trick for you. For everybody that has a store on Amazon, if you go ahead and get on Shopify and parallel your store over there, even if you set up multi-channel fulfillment to where you're still fulfilling through Amazon, every one of your Shopify purchases, send them a thank you video, personalized thank you video, 30 seconds. Absolutely. Like if Isabella bought a green dog collar from me, right? It would be something like, hey, Isabella, Stephen here from Stephen's Dog Collar Company. So that green dog collar that you bought yesterday, it's going to be on its way tomorrow. It would have gone out today, but it got here a little late. Everybody was out with their dogs at the dog park. Sorry. While you're waiting for it, go and check out our little Facebook community over here. We have all the people with all of their wonderful fur babies. We can't wait to see you in there. Talk to us anytime. See you soon. Done.
Love that. Love that.
People lose their minds. It's versus tracking information. I'm not going to be able to do that on Amazon. Now, what happens? I made it personal. You're going to go, that was amazing. Or you're going to say, that's full of garbage. There's no way. And you go and you sniff it out, and there's all these happy customers, and you can actually talk to real people, and we're really responsive. People buy from people. Now we have a relationship. We're dating. Let's go. That's how it works. Then what happens 10 days later? You get that other email. Hey, by the way, don't know if you need this, but because you already bought from us once, we're really special. Going to give you a deal over here. Yeah. And that's how you get like a 35 to 40% conversion rate on all your upsells. Just with a thank you video.
So good. Oh. But that takes time, Stephen.
It does. It does. Oh my God. That's the worst thing I've ever heard. What if you get 50 purchases a day, as an example, and you do, and you can crank a video out in 30 seconds? You can't take 25 minutes out of your day to do that. Go get a job. Get out of my face.
Yeah. I'm with you.
How do I make more money? How do I make more money? Treat people better. Make your products, understand your products are delivering a result that people are seeking. It's not what you're selling, it's whom you're serving. And the better you can play matchmaker to the desires that people are expressing all over the internet and angling your product as something that's going to solve their problem, even if the problem is like an impulse buy and they just want to express themselves to the world, right? Like my unstoppable hat. It serves no function. It's no function, but it's just my representation of, hey, this is who I am. It's a self-expression thing. It's stupid, but I bought it. I paid $40 for this hat. That's preposterous. It's absolutely absurd. I can get a $3 hat from the service station around the corner. It would cover my bald head just the same. Nope. I want this hat. Makes me feel cool. Mm-hmm. So what? People have those irrational desires on top of needs-based desires, right? That's the idea. So when you start understanding your customers a bit more, it's called social listening, things get better. And if you really want to go deep, instead of looking up the demographics of your crowd, look up something called psychographics. I'm just going to leave that one there because that's a rabbit hole. It's on the underlying buying motivations of your space and how to figure that out. It's how I approach everything. So for me, like I talked about, when I get involved with a company, and I'm going to start building out their presence, the first thing we do is I want a real buyer avatar. I want to know what they value. I want to know what their problems, questions, and roadblocks are. I want all of the underlying stuff. And I want to know what their biggest questions are in the space, because I'm going to make a better way to answer all of that and service those people. Because if you give people answers to their questions, before you make a purchase offer, you put them in a position of forced situational obligation. You helped them out. You've ended their search. You've solved a lot of their mystery. Now they owe you. And so our job as sellers, we have 3 jobs. We have to get people that have never talked to us to come and talk to us. We have to get people that have talked to us to buy from us. But that's where most people stop. You have a 3rd job. The 3rd job is to get anybody that's talked to you or bought from you to keep coming back and talking to you. It's like you don't want to, go out on the date with the wonderful person. You had an amazing time and then that's it. No, I'm going to call you and we're going to do this again and again and again and again. Why is it different than with your customers? Put in the work. And it's like, okay, well, it's not like a personal relationship. It's your bank account.
Yeah.
That counts as a personal relationship to me. And so, you come and you talk to me, you want to buy from me out of one of my stores, we are best friends. I'm going to do everything I can to keep you coming back. Yeah.
I think people forget that it's just one person at the end of that relationship instead of like many. Because when we tend to think that it's just so many of them, it's like, oh, one falls off, it's fine. One falls off. And it's like, that's why we even have the tendency of saying like you guys or you people out there, but it's never a group of people. It's most of the time it's just one person. Like if you can create that relationship with that one person, your whole life can change.
Yeah. And so that's another thing as well is like you just said, maybe you sell 500 units of something a day. That's still one person at a time buying each unit. And we all have, not all of us, but similarly enough, there's pockets of us that have similar needs. And that's why messaging works via copywriting and via offers and all this kind of thing. We resonate with certain things. We don't resonate with others. That's just how it works. But we have similar enough needs to where you can say, okay, maybe I don't want the baby market as an example. I want this sliver of the baby market because I understand these kind of people. This is what keeps them up at night. This is the result they're seeking. This is how I can make their life easier. I'm going to make a product and just deal with that. Yeah, that little tiny market. But if you can start being the go-to person that will actually talk to people in that market when everybody else is thinking baby category, you're like, no, I want these little guys over here, but I'm going to own this end of the court right here. Well, guess what? Now you have brand advocates. And if you think letting one person go is no big deal, what if they tell their friends? What if all of a sudden in your space, you get a bad reputation? And somebody says, oh, well, I was thinking about this because you have absolutely magnificent listing and amazing copy and like the photos. It's like, this is like out of fantasy land. It can't be real. Oh, I want to buy this. And their friends go, no. Wait a minute. This is why you don't want to do that. They did me dirty, or they did my friend dirty, or they did these other people dirty. And here's what, I don't even know them, but they did them dirty. I don't want to do that. Ooh. Why are my listings tanking? You did them dirty. Right? Well, what if your conversion rate is 10% as an example? 100 people come across your listing, 10 of them buy. Why didn't the other 90? Mm-hmm. There's only a small portion of them that are not product ready yet. Mm-hmm. Then there are going to be other people that they're seeking the benefit that you're putting out and you're trying to sell, but they're like, okay, something about it. I just don't feel right with you, And then there's other people that they come to the listing and they didn't buy because they like what you have, but you're not selling the benefit that they're seeking. And that's why you don't convert everybody. There's a conversion ceiling on every listing, right? But you need to go ahead and take advantage and try to optimize for anybody that is any version of maybe. Because you have your yes, no matter what you're going to buy from you. Your maybe yes, well, if you talk to me, I'll buy from you. Your maybe maybes, okay, you're going to have to really work here. And then on the other side, you have your probably nots and your definitely nots. Okay, well, the first 3, I'm going to probably do my best to convert. The people that are definitely not going to convert, I don't care. Let them go because it's not right for them. I don't want to be in a relationship with those people if I'm not right with them because they're going to be a pain in the butt to deal with. It's kind of like how we were talking about entrepreneur shiny object syndrome. I don't want to get involved with an opportunity if that's not how I really am and that's not how I really like to roll. Same thing. Does that make sense?
Oh, so good. So good. 100%. I mean, I could listen to you for hours and hours. And it's amazing because it's like simple ideas, but most of us don't use them. We don't want to put in the time. We don't want to think about it. And you know what else I noticed, Stephen? It's like, some people have been doing things a certain way for so long that they feel like if they change their mind, they would be wrong this whole time. So it's like they don't want to make themselves feel bad
Yeah.
for sucking for so long.
Yeah.
Instead of just like writing it all off, just write it off. Just be like, you know what? It's okay. Like I've done it terrible for the past 5 years, but I can still turn the leaf now. But a lot of us are just so stubborn. It's like, you know what? It's my way. Those people don't want to buy my product. That's fine. I don't care about them anyway.
So I have an answer for that. It's a hidden human addiction. People are more interested in being right than they are with the real end result they're seeking. This is why we've all had a family member or a friend or a significant other or someone, maybe even a work relationship, where you're like, okay, I have to convince this person that, well, they're wrong. 2 + 2 is not 37. But I know they're volatile and I can't just make them like, hey, you're a moron. People are not ready for that. So we find a way to delicately walk them into, oh, I didn't realize. So you're not embarrassing them. You're giving them an out, right? Yeah. If something's not working, fine, it's not working. If you're no good at writing content, well, you probably never tried before. What if you tried for a while and you suck? Great. Call it out. I am terrible at this. Who's good at it? Can I listen to them? Can I read some of what they're doing? I didn't wake up with all this crap in my head. I've spent a lot of time reading, a lot of time listening to lectures, a lot of, business stuff. And, I went on for years and years and years doing things. And all of a sudden I realized, oh God, what would I have done if I'd have known X, Y, Z? Whew. And as to prove a point, how many of us say, wow, what would it be like if I got involved in Amazon in 2008 versus now? Oh, wow, I would have X, Y, Z. Really? Well, way back then, you weren't developed. Well, pardon me. You weren't developed enough as a person to take advantage of that opportunity, were you? No. You had to level up before you could take advantage of the opportunity. You had to level up before you were made aware of a different way of operating. Something interesting there. So all of your damage and all of your suck and all of the ways you're doing things, great. That's where you are. If you're happy with where you are and you have an amazing life, good. Double down, keep doing what you're doing, show other people how to do it, lessen their struggle. But if you don't have what you want, maybe you're happy, but you're like, trying to get to that next level. Well, there's only one answer. You have to give up everything that you've done and the identity of who you are and become someone else. Become the person that lives that other life. That requires different habits. Otherwise, if it were the habits you already had, you'd already have that life because that's the person that lives that life. So if you want to be the guy or the girl that lives in the 19th floor penthouse or whatever it is, and you're not there yet, well, everything that you do, ask yourself, are these the habits, and is this how the person that lives that life would spend their time? Ouch. Are they going to do this? Are they going to do that? Well, maybe it's just a fantasy in your head. But I promise you, the internet's a big place, and you could probably reach out to people who live that life or read about them and say, this is what they do. This is how they're doing that. Okay, I'm going to start emulating that. Well, cool. You're picking up new habits that clearly move you a direction of an end result that you seek. So get over yourself. Want the level up way, way more than being able to pump your chest and say, oh, well, I'm so right. Because you're not. You're living a lie because you're not really where you want to be. And maybe you're right and you can keep your vanity in check. But at the end of the day, when the lights go out and you're all alone, you're like, well, damn it, I'm not going to wake up tomorrow in the life that I seek yet. What's it going to take? What's it going to take? Well, if you keep pushing the buttons and all the time and try to put in all this extra time on things you're already doing and it's not producing results, well, guess what? Those systems don't give you the end result. 2 + 2 does not equal 37. You got to change one of those variables. That's it.
And I think the first step it's actually admitting it. Like, so my thing is I want to be a billionaire this lifetime and I will be, but yet I know with the things that I'm doing right now, that's not going to take me to be a billion. I know that. Like I understand it. I'm like, but I'm not going to sit and cry like, "Oh my god, I'm not a
Yeah.
billionaire." Because I know I don't put in as much because I'm comfortable. I'm like, kind of cruising, I'm always like I'm not always like go 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 go.
Yep.
Even though it seemed like it, but I know that for me to reach to that level, there's some things that I need to start saying no to instead of saying yes all the time. I know I need to adapt new habits that I don't have right now.
Now, here's the big one. Here's the big one that stops people from leveling up. It's not necessarily, well, it includes all of the habits that you currently have, but people don't want to sacrifice the people around them for what they want. Because the life that you cost, or the life that you want, is probably going to cost you the circle that you have. It's just how it works. And some people naturally just do not fit that. And I'm including family there. People that you're like, oh, well, they're family. How can I do that? Okay. How bad do you really want that life? If you're comfortable and you're comfortable with everything and you're like, okay, cool, rock and roll. Cool, great. Run it. But if you're not and you want more and you have that fire, it's probably going to cost you time with them. I've talked about it openly. My own mother, she doesn't talk to me very often, not at length, because she knows. Don't talk to me during this time. Don't expect a phone call back. Give me a little while. I got stuff going on, right? As far as leveling up and maybe being, an 8-figure, 9-figure billionaire type business, okay, or businesses, because if you're going to be a billionaire, it's dozens of businesses probably that you're involved in. Okay, what you're really taking on is, I'm willing to take on this amount of responsibility and problems in exchange for living that way. And the more responsibility you take on, it means the more discomfort you're going to have to adapt to. Are you willing to endure that for that end result? That's the real cost. So when you have goals that you write down, you're not actually saying, "Ooh, here's the fantasy that I want to go to someday." You're not. You're making a written contract of saying, "I'm willing to eat the suck. I'm willing to die as in my current form. I'm willing to do whatever it takes and whatever pain comes my way, and whomever is sacrificed because of that, even if I love them dearly, this is where I'm going. This is the path I'm walking. Anybody that's not going to be there is just not going to be there. I'm going to have to figure that out. Sorry. I would love for them to be there, but if they're going to be there, they're going to have to level up too. That's it." And if you're real with yourself, okay, well, every step toward that goal is a step away from what you're comfortable with and what you're living already in those and those people and circumstances that you love. Doesn't mean it's not going to improve. Maybe it improves with everybody, but it's walking willingly into the unknown, into the uncomfortable, doing the things that you're not great at yet. Like me as an example, I'm fantastic with building audiences. I'm great with firing up communication and customer retention. It's kind of what I'm known for. The technicalities of, say, search engine optimization, like really, really super technical stuff, nope, I'm not great at it. I'm working on it. I can do a good bit. I'm not great at it, but I know I'm going to need it. And I know I'm going to need to be able to figure it out enough to speak the language, to hire the right people out to do that at scale for me so that I know whether I'm not getting a good result. And I work on it every day, about an hour a day, and it wears me out sometimes because I'm like, oh my gosh, everybody else makes it look so easy. Nope. I have to add that part to the operation on everything that I'm doing if I'm going to go where I want to go. And that changes how I have to spend some time, changes who gets my time, changes some of my priorities. Sure. That's just one example. Okay. Well, now let's think a little deeper. And this is something that I'm really, really touchy about that I don't think enough people are. But I'm also going to preface this with saying, don't live the way I'm about to talk about, because you're going to be miserable unless you're ready for misery and what comes on the other side of misery, which is the real price of greatness. Don't do it. How many hours are there in a week? Anybody know? 162 hours. Sleep 6 hours a night. That's 42 hours. I have 120 hours left to crush. Are you really documenting on a spreadsheet, not what your intent is, but what you have done? If you keep track of every hour, Sunday at midnight to Saturday at midnight, and you make 2 sheets, you write down everything you did, and then you write down everybody you gave your time to on the second sheet. And you make your goals, short-term, midterm, long-term, personal, and business life. And at the end of the week, you have to put a number corresponding to one of those goals next to each box on both sheets. Guess what? You're going to figure out pretty quick how much time you're wasting and how serious you are, and who has no business in your life because they're not contributing to the lifestyle that you want. And they're holding you back, and therefore that's misery. Bye. Ouch. Not everybody's ready for that. But if you really want to level up, that'll arrest your attention pretty quick. People think, oh, well, I work really hard. Do you? How much TV do you watch? How much entertainment do you take part in? I'm not saying there's no time for that. But I'm saying if you're really serious and you're talking a big game, if I put somebody in the room with you that didn't speak your language for 3 months and they got to watch over your shoulder, could they come back and tell me what you're hunting, what you're working on, how serious you are about it? What if you operate like that every day? Things are going to change pretty quick, real quick. Because guess what? Even if you work 80 hours a week, I still left 40 hours out to go from 80 to 120 on what's left after sleeping. Whoa. I still have a full-time job worth of time as a gap. I'm not saying you need to crush during that time either. I'm saying maybe that's recovery, maybe that's gym time, maybe that's family time, but you need to limit it to that if you're real serious.
If you really want it.
Mm-hmm. Because that's the cost. That's the cost of it. There's no other way around it, you know? And so we have these big ideas, and sometimes our big ideas are for vanity, right? But then sometimes if we don't aim at the stars, you know, we start marching toward the stars, we're never going to get to the sky, which is where real fun happens. We're never going to get to the top of the mountain if we don't aim for the moon, is what I like to think, right? Now, here's another fun thing. This is going to smack a lot of people in the head. Your imagination is only as big as what you've been exposed to. Your imagination is only as big as what you've been exposed to. If you want to be a billionaire, cool. Seek out a way to meet one. Talk with them. See how they live day to day. Oh, well, that changes my whole perspective. You want to live in a big house? Go to an open house. Way before you're qualified to buy one. Mm-hmm. Go sit in a Rolls Royce. Have the balls to walk in when you only have, like, say, $5,000 in your bank account, and say, I'd like to sit in that. I'd like to smell the leather. Thank you. Treat yourself practicing success, because you're only going to go as far as what you've been exposed to. You can't imagine much past that. So the more you expose yourself to, the higher you can reach, and the higher you know, okay, well, this would be nice. And then when you start exercising some of what it takes to get there, you're probably going to fall somewhere in the middle. Okay, all right, but that's pretty doggone comfortable compared to where you were.
What percentage would you say imagination is of someone's success? Because you said put in all that work, and then you have imagination on the side, which is kind of like this other world, right? Like it's not
not necessarily. I think imagination and vision are two different things.
Okay.
I think if you have something in your mind, but you're not holding yourself accountable to taking steps toward that star, well, then what are you doing, right? But if I say I'm going to go get that star on the horizon, every single day I'm going to hold myself accountable to taking a step forward toward it and away from where I am now. Okay. It doesn't matter how many steps I take. The prize out of that is who I become walking that path. That is the star. I just have the aiming point now. At some point, if I have the habits and develop the work ethic and develop the efficiency, as we keep talking about, the efficiency of my business systems, of someone who leads that kind of life, I will have that life. Because here's something for you. Your bank account is just a delayed reaction to your daily financial habits. Your life you wake up to is a delayed reflection of your daily decision making. That's heavy. Heavy. Yeah. People, crap. So your life is your own fault. Where you are right now was like your big imagination and fantasy yesterday. I mean, think about all of us listening to this. We're all sellers. We've all had a job here and there. We wanted this so many moons ago. I was like, okay, think about that. You come a long way. Even if you're having trouble, you come a long way. You had the stones to start. And at least even listening to something like this, you're out of your comfort zone. Great. Keep pushing. But if you want more, it takes more work. It takes more efficiency. It takes exposing yourself to the people who know who live that way, and being big enough to where you can offer something to where they can have a conversation with you and say, this is how I did this, or here's the book of how I did that, or here's the lecture, or here's the story, or this or that or the other. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's what it takes. So you just have to keep that in mind. The life I wake up to is a delayed reflection of so many choices I made yesterday. You don't like who you wake up next to? It's because you've been putting up with them for too long. You don't like the life you wake up to? Inventory your time. How are you spending it? How are you making those decisions? Well, I don't know what to do to make more money. Cool. Pick up your phone and look up something as far as a skill versus entertainment, and you'll have something pretty quick. Think about it. If you do something 2 hours each weekday, that's leveling up a skill. At the end of the month, you've put in 40 hours on learning a new skill, like say copywriting, listing optimization, search engine optimization work you could do as a freelancer, right? Okay, Facebook ads? Okay. At the end of 3 months, you've put in over 100 hours of dedicated, daily, consistent training to understand the language, understand how it works. You don't think you can't get someone's attention and maybe get in with somebody who needs that kind of work done? Maybe as somebody who works as an intern at an agency, or some junior associate at an agency, because you have demonstrable skills. Guess what? 3 months, you're on the path. Off you go. And now you're exposed to something even bigger. You can see maybe how an agency works. You can see how these people that are ahead of you, how they've arranged things, what they're doing with the extra skills. Oh, I have this skill. I need that one and that one. Now I can go on that path. Now I have all these skills by the end of the year. I'm doing much, much bigger. That's how that works. You have more information in your pocket on your phone than in all of the libraries put together in human history. And you're worried about sports scores? And you're complaining about your life? Don't do that. 2 hours a day. Pick a skill. Start somewhere. Don't think of it as a linear path. Think of it as a spider web.
I think people think it will take much longer than that.
Nope. It doesn't. It doesn't. Not a bit. Not a bit. You do not have to have $1 million business to say that you understand something. Right? Think about a new skill that you've tried to pick up. Maybe dancing. Maybe playing an instrument. You're not going to be great at it at first, but within a few short weeks, you can at least speak the language and understand what you're looking at a little better if you try it 2 hours a day every day. And that's not asking much. Okay, not a big deal. Great. But if you really want to try something and you go, say, for a couple of months working on something, until you expose yourself to a new skill, you're not going to know whether or not you have an aptitude for it. I am terrible at graphic design. Absolutely horrible. How do I know? I've tried. I know I can speak the language. I can do all the softwares. I can do all that kind of fun stuff. Nope. That's not something Stephen Black does. You want to talk about writing? Yeah, I started writing and I was like, oh, okay, I understand buyer psychology. I understand copywriting. I'm going to double down on that naturally, because it's just something that I was working on. I was like, okay, cool. And I started working on that for people. I started saying, hey, well, let me write a couple ads for you. Let me write a sales letter. Let me work on a landing page for lead gen for you. Sure, let's see where it goes. You have friends in this business that will give you that shot. They're like, yeah, sure. Let's see what you got. Why not? Sure. You're cutting your teeth, but until you try to figure out what you have an aptitude for, right? Maybe it's Amazon PPC and you're a maniac at it, like Mina is, right? But you know what? Mina's a maniac at Amazon PPC. He is not a maniac at persuasive copywriting like I am. Great. He's done it here and there, sure. And he's probably going to get a lot better at it, especially when he hears me talk about him, right? But the point of it is, he was working on a few different things. He found Amazon PPC. So, I get that. And I'm going to go real deep on that. And he's fantastic at it now. It doesn't take long, not one bit. But you have to say, okay, here's skills that I could use. Here's something I can now offer to a marketplace that is outside of what my resume says. Great. That's how you get into new opportunities. And then you see people that are doing a little better than you, and you say, I need this one and that one too. Okay, I'm gonna go back to my phone, go back to YouTube, go back to the forums, go back to interning. How can I get this one? Let me work on this project. Right? You don't have to go back to university to get that. Not in this business. There's just new skills. Like people ask me all the time, so well, okay, there's a lot that you could cover. How do I start off of Amazon? Google search ads, because it's just like Amazon PPC. Start there. You don't have to have a landing page. Or you can say single page lander with a click through to your Amazon listing and run Google search to that. Done. Start there. Those are two skills that are going to take you a couple of months to figure out. And then you can say, oh, okay, now I get it. I can see what's going on here. Just like learning how the Amazon platform works. You didn't know that. So it doesn't take long.
I love that. This is so wonderful, Stephen. I wish we could have more time. This is probably my longest interview, and I don't want to stop you because you're just so wonderful. Do you have your own book by any chance? Have you?
I'm in the process of writing books.
Okay.
It's interesting because just last week, actually, I figured out how I want to deploy all of that. But I have multiple titles that are thought out and written down. I have a lot of the content already written. It's just assembling it into a book. And honestly, that's actually a really good analogy now that you mentioned it, Isabella. Everybody that wants to run a business, don't think that you're writing a book in one take, all of the sentences from start to finish. You don't write a book. You assemble a book from your writing. You assemble a business by putting together a number of skills. It's not you have to do it all starting on sentence 1 and write it to the end. And it's like this 300-page thing you're giving birth to. No. You write 2 pages here and 10 pages there. And it's this little skill and that little skill. And, oh, I need this person. And, oh, now I understand this. Now you assemble all of this into a business, the same as writing a book. You assemble the writing and the thoughts. That's why they have chapters.
Hmm.
So that's a good way to think about it for people that are like trying to get over the mindset part of it. There you go.
I can see that. I mean, I feel like I have sometimes problems with that. It's like finding that beginning part, it's like, oh, if I don't have the perfect beginning, then how can I do the rest of the things? But sometimes it works if you just like start in the middle and then the other pieces will start falling into place.
Yeah. So the way I visualize every single project I get involved in, no matter what it is, personal life, business stuff, doesn't matter. I think about it more like a spider web. It's not going to be perfect at the beginning. I'm just going to start and I'm expecting it to be horrible. But I won't know if it's good or bad until other people start touching it and getting feedback, and I know which parts to add to my web to where before you know it, I got this really nice looking thing. But I don't know that until I get the feedback on it. Put it out there. Let people say, that is really terrible. Wow. How dare you even like visually accost me for me having to read that garbage? Right? Like, yeah. Let it be that bad. Because what's going to happen is all of a sudden you're going to say, okay, let me try that a little differently. And you're going to put out so much work developing yourself that way that those first few are not even going to be footnotes. People are going to say, oh, you're so good at that. That was your first one? Really? Yeah, but that was like a year ago.
Yeah.
Now look where we are. But you don't know until you start. And expect when you start, it's going to be terrible. And who cares?
Well, but that's the thing, because people they don't want to go through that misery part. They don't want to get that negative feedback. They take it personally. Like when, like I know when I first started like being on this podcast, like I got a lot of negative feedback. What do most people do? They go home and cry and say, you know what, that's not made for me. But I understand that this is a process. I understand that for me to be the next Tony Robbins is going to take a long time to get there. And you cannot jump steps. You cannot just wake up and, just assume you're going to be fantastic. You're going to have to go through a lot of suck
Yep.
to be that person. And I am willing to take the attack. I am willing to take the negative feedback that will turn it into a positive feedback. Just like with Amazon reviews. If
Yep.
you see that this product has all these bad things about it, take that and how do you make yours better? So that can translate in anything in your life, whether it's personal, it's business, and anything. Like, take the suck.
It's the only way that you're going to get growth. I mean, realistically, if you're always wanting to be comfortable, shut your door, sit inside, and wait for someone to develop, or wait for someone to deliver $1 million check for you. Just wait all your days just waiting for that to happen, because it's never going to happen. But that's what it takes. The life you want it's going to take learning something new, being bad at something new. But everything you've ever started, you were bad at. Nobody ever falls out of the sky as Superman. Nobody ever falls and hits the top of the mountain. Nope. You're going to go and you're going to fall and it's going to be terrible and people are going to say things. And so what? But what you have to understand is you shouldn't put your sense of self-worth as an attachment to the scoreboard. If you gave it your effort and you're doing your best, you're allowed to develop as the player of life, so to speak. If people say, wow, your podcast was really just absolutely garbage. This and that and this and that and this and that. Okay, cool. Thank you so much. But you still listened to it, didn't you?
Of course, 100%.
Thank you. Right?
Yeah.
So people are going to want to hate, and you have to realize they're just judging you against the ideal in their mind. Mm-hmm. You're suffering their imagination and them talking about it. Yeah. Right? That's it. That's the comparison. And those people don't define you. They don't define you. You define you. That's it. There's no two ways about it. People can say whatever they want. Now, here's what I want you to think about. Here's a scary number. How many people are on the planet? 7.5 billion, right? What's 1% of 7.5 billion? 75 million? Guess what? If you met one new person every 30 seconds, every single day, one new person every 30 seconds, every single day for 75 years, you'll meet 1% of humanity. You're not going to meet that many people. So the people that like to talk garbage at you, they're dismissible anyway. They don't matter. Off they go. You got thousands and thousands of people that are going to end up loving you. Keep pushing. The other people don't matter. You're not going to meet most of them. You do you. You define who you are from the inside out and what you're about. So you know what? Yeah, maybe it was terrible, but I still put in the work. Yeah. Maybe it's not as good as yours, but I put in the work and I'm going to make my effort. At some point, you're going to get tired and slow down. Any goal that you have, think about it like it's something that you're fighting in the ring. Maybe it knocks you down a few times. But if you keep coming back punching, nothing wants to stand in the way of somebody who continuously attacks. They're going to get tired of like, no, I don't want to deal with that. I'm going to knock him down again, but he just will not stop. I don't want to deal with that. No. That's how you go about it. Say, I'm going to be terrible. I mean, my first 100 are going to be terrible. But I'm going to learn every one of those 100 steps. And if I knew that I was going to be a millionaire, a billionaire, or whatever it was, I'm going to have this wonderful business, be able to quit my job, take care of my family. And it was on the other side. If you knew it was on the other side of, say, you're going to have to make 150 god-awful podcasts that you hope you can just burn afterward. You get those things done in a month. You'd go so fast knowing what's on the other side and learning and optimizing and everything else. That's how you get past that. Negative haters and everything else say, oh, really? What can I learn from that? You had that kind of, are you having a bad day? Like, are you this way to everybody? Maybe you're just a nasty person. And who are you to say something? Really? Okay. All right. That's more indicative of who you are on the inside versus my work. So have fun with that. Yeah. That's how you think about that.
I think a lot of people, like to idolize people that have made it. So, but in that sense, they're actually missing the point. Because if you look at, I don't know, let's see, the first person comes to my mind, right? Donald Trump, right? Let's just put it like successful, business person, then he made it as a president, right? Whatever. But then most people will look at that person and be like, you know what, he's just lucky, like he was born like this kind and this kind, but they're not looking at what it took for that person to get there. And in doing so, you're telling yourself that no way in hell will you ever do that, because you were not born special.
Yeah. So here's what I want you to do: get the word luck out of your vocabulary and say fortunate instead. Because some of us have fortunate circumstances here and there, but nobody goes without struggle. Nobody goes without struggle. And I know people who are the quote unquote trust fund babies, and they struggle a lot, a whole lot. They have some nasty personal demons that they deal with, and they struggle to make their mark and blah, 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 blah. All right. Now, that all said, let's take another one. Elon Musk, right? So, oh man, Elon Musk, he's so smart and all this and all that. It just seems like the life of Riley, right? As the phrase goes. As, oh man, everything just goes right for that guy. Really? Well, what about his story with how he built PayPal and him and his brother trading turns on a couch so that someone was always coding, couldn't pay rent, had an office with a computer and a couch where they were coding PayPal as a platform. He had a girlfriend that had just come over and hang out with him on the couch. That was all he had in the moment. That was it, right? How many times did his SpaceX rockets blow up before he got it right? And he was willing to just go for it, go for broke and risk failure, right? All that stuff. Everybody that you see that you admire has taken responsibility for running through their struggles, and they know without a question that something better than where they are is going to be on the other side of their struggles. That's all you need to know. It is the unknown, and the unknown is scary. But if you know that you don't like where you are, then the worst possible outcome is waking up to this day another day. Don't do that. Do something that gives you some different outcome. And the more you do it daily, the more you're going to change the day you wake up to. And you're going to have a different life before you know it. It's crazy. It happens so fast. So there you go. My thoughts on that.
Thank you, Stephen Black. I really appreciate your time and everything together today. I want to bring you on like every week.
We'll connect again.
This has been such an honor, and this is my longest episode. And again, I really don't want to be done with this conversation, because I think we're discovering so many good points, but unfortunately we have to say goodbye. How do people find you? I mean, I know everybody knows you're very active on Facebook, right?
Yeah, Facebook is going to be the best place to find me. You can look up Stephen Black there, and you'll find my personal profile on Facebook is facebook.com/official Stephen Black. It's Stephen with a V and Black like the color. My free marketing group is the Unstoppable FBA Marketing Hacks for Amazon Sellers, where I talk all about marketing of a variety of topics. I write there all the time. I do videos. I do all that kind of fun stuff. And then I also have a program where I go real deep and give everybody the deeper parts of my brain in marketing and setting up their brands and everything else. And all you have to do for that is look up Unstoppable Marketing Masterclass for that one. Okay. So there you go. That's how you get a hold of me. I'm on Facebook. Come and find me. I'm happy to talk to you. Happy to answer any question you want. Throw it at me.
Thank you, Stephen. And we'll speak very soon.
Thank you.